Of course, you're still watching News Central and Africa, of course, counting down to 2024, the crossover live broadcast. My name is Dapo, Adegboye, and of course, the beautiful Dashen.
Yes, some Dashen, Usman. I'm tempted to say good morning, but you know, I would just be, I would rather actually say Happy New Year. But for now, it's good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here in Lagos, Nigeria. And I love the energy from you, Dapo.
Oh, come on!
You seem really excited.
Well, it's in Nigeria, by the way. It's about 25 minutes to the new year. Even though we know that some countries like South Africa, we're like almost about 20 minutes right now, you know, already into the new year. But the excitement is gearing up, and you can tell from the streets, the celebratory mood, of course, is already out there. But once again, I'd like to say a big welcome. Thank you for sticking around and, of course, staying with us. A lot to talk about. But before we even get into the crux of some of the conversations, Dashen, I would like to start off. How has the year been for you?
Well, the year has been up and down. You know how these years are. You know, you start the new year with so much anticipation, you know, so much hope for what you expect, and then something happens and it goes sideways. But then you keep keeping hope, and then you keep, you know, moving past whatever it is. And then something good just works out.
Are you one of those that, you know, drop that resolution list and
no, I really do not remember when last I actually had a resolution. All I do is mostly, and funny enough, last year, I usually go to church every crossover, but I didn't go to church crossover because a lot of things actually happened the previous year, and I think I was angry.
Okay, I think this would be...
I had a lot of things, so...
But I believe it's better now.
No, it is, and I actually had a wonderful New Year. I had a really wonderful, 2023, and hopefully 2024 would be a lot better. But how about you?
Okay, I think let me start by saying this is the first crossover that maybe I would not be doing in church in many years, but it's a good one. The year has actually been great, you know, in a way. Aside the fact that, of course, the rising cost of food in Nigeria, the rising cost of basic necessities, of course, stood out for me. But we have a guest in the studio who, of course, will be discussing quite a number of issues. But let's, of course, introduce Mr. Segun, a political analyst here joining us. Segun, thank you so much for making our time. Of course, we know that a lot of people at this time would rather want to be in church. Some people want to be at, you know, the bar.
First of all, where would you rather be at this time?
At home.
At home?
With my wife,
goodness. But we
is that a tradition for you?
That's the tradition in my family. So in my church, we do our crossover from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We say Happy New Year at 9. And my pastor jokes and says, look, in Dubai, they already...
I'm sorry, 9 p.m.?
Yeah.
9 p.m.
9 p.m. So
here.
We've done our crossover service already. I've been to church and we're home.
Oh, wow.
So what happens at 12?
We just hug each other in the house. You know, myself and my family, we hug each other. Sometimes we do fireworks at home. Sometimes we go join friends who are doing fireworks, who are having a firework display. You know, so it's always family time for us.
So let's first of all apologize for dragging you out on your family time.
To my wife. She's watching and she's not happy.
Oh, we really apologize, madam.
Mrs. Shokmito, please, we sincerely apologize. But thank you for,
your family for today.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
all right. So for you, I mean, the year 2023 has been quite an eventful one.
Absolutely.
Of everything that happened, which will you say stood out for you positively and negatively?
Well, I mean, on the national scene, you know, the elections, I don't think you can get, you know, the conversations can't get past, you know, the elections, really. I think it's the biggest event of 2023 for Nigeria. For some people, it's a positive. For some people, well, they're still watching. You know, maybe negative, maybe, you know, we'll see how it goes, you know. So the elections, and then there's been a lot of other things that has happened. All the drama with the cash scarcity. Towards the end of the year, sadly, the security issues. Talking about the accidental bombings, you know, those were dark moments, as you know, on the national scene. The Plateau killings that happened, you know, over Christmas, also not something palatable. Very dark periods for Nigeria, but it's been a mixed bag. I think that most Nigerians feel that 2023 on the national scene has not been a good year. It's been a year where the hardships and difficulties that they've been going through has been exacerbated. Things have kind of gotten worse. But I'd like to maintain a hopeful stance.
Of course, that's the attitude a lot of people have right now, being optimistic as to the new year. We also have a News Central's correspondent, that's Bettina, who is on standby, and also Nii, who is also on the field to give us live feeds as to how people are gearing up in Nigeria for the new year. We also have our guest, Dashen.
Yes, we're talking about Dr. Mohammed Goje. He is actually the Executive Secretary, SEMA, in Yobe State. Hello, Doctor, and thank you so much for joining us at this time. Compliments of the season, by the way.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year in advance.
Okay, it's nice to have you with us.
All right, and also we have Bulama Abiso, that's the Executive Director Network of Civil Society in Borno State, who will be joining us shortly. But let's go to Dr. Mohammed Goje. How has the year 2023 been for you?
Thank you very much. We're grateful to God that we are witnessed this far, and we are hopeful that inshallah 2023 has come with a lot of mix, especially looking at the 2023 is an election year. After the election, the subsidy removal, the Naira redesign, but for us in Northeast Nigeria and in Yobe State, there has been a relative peace, improvement in the peace. People have been amazed when you look back at the times of conflict, displacements of IDPs and insecurity. And when you compare with the 2022 flooding, which has resulted in mass casualty in terms of livelihood, properties, and even lives of people. So there has been relative improvement in terms of security, in terms of peace, in the realizing and getting dividends of democracy.
It appears we are having a bit of difficulty connecting with Dr. Goje, but let's go back to you, Segun. Quite a lot happened in the year 2023. I think for many Nigerians, one thing that stood out is the cost of basic items, particularly feeding. I mean, there's this viral video on the internet where the president was, passing through a very crowded, I think, a market, and people were, part of the crowd was saying, we are hungry, So, I mean, in terms of the cost of living, particularly for Nigerians, how would you say it was in 2023?
It's been...
I mean, snowballing into the festivities.
Yeah, it's almost been disastrous, honestly. If you really feel the pulse of the people out there on the streets, the lower middle income and the bottom of the pyramid people, it's been a very bad year. Disposable income has been shrunk, significantly, such that people now find that they cannot survive. I've seen videos of people who would say that they used to find a way prior to 2023 to survive on 2,000 or 3,000 naira per day. Feed by gari, feed their children and all of that. But that's no longer possible. So leading up until towards the end of the year now, December where we are, where we have food inflation trending above 32%, per annum. The experience has been that even basic stuff like chicken, fish, the prices increase almost on a weekly basis.
I mean, I had a personal experience yesterday.
It's crazy.
Okay, I would actually love for both of you to actually, to hold your thoughts there, but...
I mean, talking about the personal experience, Dashen, before you call up Nii, who is on standby at a concert in Lagos. So I tried getting live chicken. Yeah. I mean, we used to get it at giveaway price. I mean, from 5,000 or less. And then when I had the price, I said, you know what? This is just me. Let me go for the dead one. That's the package.
Oh my goodness. All right, I was still talking about the whole inflation.
I said, okay, you know, let me up it a bit. And then, you know, I like to be very practical here. And then I said, do you have turkey? The lady told me that turkey is so expensive, she cannot buy it to stock. She said the reason is because she's afraid nobody would buy. I mean, and then she said the alternative is chicken. And then when she told me the price, even the price of the dead chicken, right? I was shocked. So that tells you the reality of quite a number of people, right? And it's just that. But I understand that Niyi is back.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Let's try to reconnect with Bulama. Yes, we have Bulama Abiso. He's the Executive Director, Network of Civil Society in Borno State. Hello, Bulama. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Hello, thank you very much for having me. Good evening.
Right. It's good to have you. So compliments of the season, by the way.
Happy New Year in advance.
Happy New Year to you as well. So can you tell us, what has 2023 been like for you, especially in Borno State?
Thank you very much for this question. 2023 is actually up and down for me and for my people here in Borno State, particularly when we look at the event that has unfolded in 2023. One thing is that we are, you know, epic of the crisis of the Boko Haram. And we have seen a lot of insurgents that have actually surrendered in 2022. And finally, in 2023, issues surrounding them were taken up directly by the government and the civil society organization in Borno State, where we started seeing them actually engaging them back to their communities. This has been a very, 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 very serious task to us, where in some of the communities they were received, in some of the communities they were rejected to some extent, while others actually bid to the community. And another event that actually shaped the state is the election, the 2023 election that has come, which has also renewed the mandate of the government in the power. And this actually has been a positive development to the people of Borno State as well. And also in the event of the issues on the tracking down the development aspect in the state. We have so many structural development in the state, which I can say it is something that is actually gradually fees is returning to the state and then development is coming up. But the challenges are still with our hope that all our IDPs will go back to their ancestral homes. And still in 2023, this has been started in 2022. In 2023, there are some pushes there and there. But the setbacks, what we're actually experiencing, particularly these 2 weeks, or 1 week, I can say, where some hoodlums actually break down the national grid through Damaturu to Borno State, where if not because of the gas plant that was actually initiated by the last administration, Borno will have been completely in darkness. But thank God that this gas plant is actually rational, though we are not getting full power supply, but it has been rational, giving us one site for some hours, then another one for some hours.
Mr. Bulama, well, this particular incident you mentioned actually seems to be a recurring issue, because I remember, you know, a similar issue happened last year and the year before, where, you know, some hoodlums actually, you know, cut out power supply for some of the communities. But, you know, one would actually think that something is actually being done about it. How can we stop this from happening going forward, especially in 2024?
Actually, going forward, when it happens last year, there are a lot of suggestions that were made. First and foremost, we need to go on to digital. We need to actually get a surveillance cameras throughout the road to see that from where it is happening, people and the securities can be able to take positions and can be able to know which of the polls has been attempted, and they can be able to actually nail the problem of the bot. But physical surveillance, the place is very, very far, and physical surveillance has been very, very taxing for the security agencies to continue. So what I can still suggest is actually to have some drones, actually, and also have some maybe CCTV camera on all the polls that we're having. Then probably this might actually give an early warning, and then people can be able to see, the securities can see what is happening, then they might be able to put a stop to it. Otherwise, the polls are late in the push, and anybody can go in at night at any given time. They can be there, then also cause this kind of destruction to the community. So it's very unfortunate. So I believe if we can actually explore the technology around the world, I think this can help us more than the current physical surveillances that we are doing.
All right, Bulama, Abiso, of course, we'll get back to you shortly.
Thank you.
Let's link up with News Central's Bettina Mweli. It's also important we mention that it's about 9 minutes to the new year in Nigeria. So at some point, we will, of course, start the countdown. Bettina, great to have you join us.
How many of you are happy with Lagos?
Oh, I love the smile. It's infectious.
All right, we can't really make out what Bettina is saying. Bettina looks like she's having so much fun, by the way.
Very cool, and they shut the doors, and there's an overflow crowd outside. You can tell the number of people from the crowd that we can see right here this evening. Nigerians have gathered in their numbers to make sure that they celebrate the last day of the year, because this year has not been a walk in the park. Now, tonight we can see a whole lot of youths, especially outside in the overflow. Personally, I would say that I'm surprised that Nigerian youths actually love God this much, or actually realize that they need God in all of their doings. Majority of the people that you can see behind me and around me are young people who came to the church, trooping in their numbers to make sure that they cross over into the new year from the presence of God.
Bettina, when you say that, my sister, with everything that's actually happened this year, you know, one would actually look to God and hope for a better 2024. But how intense would you say it is this year? I'm sure a lot of people would have actually trooped into church to pray for a better 2024. Bettina, if you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Absolutely. A lot of people, even when the service started and the preaching started from the pastor, he did mention how this year has been tough for a lot of people. Single people, families, even people who are in money and people who are still expecting.
Okay, at this point, of course, we will connect back with Bettina. Let's link up with News Central's Nia Moni, who is actually covering the Greater Lagos concert in Lagos State. And Nia,
you're bolded.
What? Nia, what's going on?
It is the Greater Lagos Fiesta, and just as you can see here, it's buzzing. I mean, it's awesome, it's beautiful, and if you just look to my right hand here, you will see so much youth, Lagos youth from all around Lagos, from Ikorodu, from Makute, from mainland island. See them flooded here, and a lot of musicians have been taking the stand. But I would like to place your attention on the timer there. If you can just look, the countdown has begun. 5 minutes, 30 seconds and counting, which means anytime from now, we'll be hitting 24 right here from Lagos.
Nee, absolutely. Let me also comment. I love your outfit. I don't know what it is. I think it's a kimono. I'm really not sure, but it's really African. Now, let's talk about some of the highlights that you've noticed so far at the event you're covering. do we have the governor there? Do we have, celebrities? What's aside the festivities and all of that, what's the mood also like, particularly for what people have been through throughout the year?
There's another
We've had different genre of music sincerely, from the classical to the all round gyrating, and we've had even gospel musicians come there to perform. We've had the choirs, we've had Spiral, and backstage we have OBO, Davido, and we have so many other. In fact, Small Doctor also just performed some few minutes ago, and just at the VIP stand just to my side here, we can't see them from where we are currently, but we know that Lagos State Babajide, the governor of Niger State is there, the deputy governor is there, senators and chieftains across various political parties are also there. So it's been an exciting time here. And let me put it out there, this event started on the 29th of December. It's supposed to run for 72 hours. And in just 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes, the 72 hours will be over. And they still have OBO backstage and many more artists. But one thing I've been able to pick from these events is that everyone here is grateful. Even when the gospel musicians came up to want to talk about maybe gospel or Christ in terms of music, people were just particular about the fact that it's going to be a beautiful 2024 and thanking God for letting them scale through 2023, which is just 3 minutes away, guys. It's just 3 minutes away, guys.
All right, me, I must say, I really, really envy you. I wish we could actually swap places, but
Honestly.
it's all good. I forgive you. So, but it looks like the governor is actually speaking on stage. Do you have an idea of what he's saying, and can we hear some of the things he's actually saying?
come next year.
Yeah, so
we will even make it
let us get what he's saying now.
A lot better than it is. There's still a lot of first-class artists that are coming, right? But we need to do this and do it very, very quickly. We've got a few seconds to go to be able to enter into the year 2024. We've got 2 more minutes. And so even wherever you are, continue to say that indeed 2024 will be a glorious year for me. 2024 will be an happy year for me. 2024 will be the beginning of better and more better things to me. In 2024, there shall be a lot, big. Not be so. Not so. Inflow, big. They will just be transferred and transferred. In 2024, you will be able to reach your career growth. Not so. Not so. In 2024, Lagos will be able to support your business. Will be able to support you in everything that you're doing. Not be so. Not so.
You keep hearing the governor delivering, a charge to the people there. I'll still leave you to hear more from him. But the promise is that Lagos is going to be better in 2024.
Counting down now, and we'll be entering.
And the countdown is about to begin.
24.
Lagos, are you ready to count down?
Are you ready? We got 1 minute 20 seconds. Y'all ready to count down? We are ready counting down. We've got a minute.
So what you're seeing right now live on the screen is actually the countdown at the Greater Lagos concert. You just had the governor of Lagos State speak there, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. We will be joining the countdown into the new year. Congratulations.
Happy New Year. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
You made
Segun.
it to 2024.
Wow, Happy New Year, Nigerians. Happy New Year, Dr. Mohammed Goje. Happy New Year, Bulama, Abiso.
Happy New Year to you, Nee, as well.
Yes, Nee. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, all.
That was quite exciting.
Absolutely exciting. So what you can see on your screen right now is fireworks, live fireworks from the Greater Lagos concert happening in Lagos State. Happy New Year, Nigerians.
Okay, so we also have live pictures, yes, from Abuja. We have live pictures. They just celebrated the countdown as well. This is live in Abuja from a church in Abuja. You know, it's quite interesting that while some people are celebrating at a concert, you know, grooving and all that, others are in church desperately praying. But, you know, whatever it is, every man to his own.
Exactly,
Yeah,
absolutely
so,
true.
You know, God will definitely answer all our prayers, and everything we seek for this 2024 season would come to pass. And this is a prayer from News Central to every one of you watching us right now.
I mean, right now in the studio,
you know,
we can actually hear the fireworks out there. It's pretty intense. You would agree with me that, I mean, looking at what a lot of people have been through in 2023, for you to be, you know, alive and, you know, active, to see a new year, I think it's worth celebrating, honestly.
It definitely is.
For those of you that have resolutions.
Not resolutions. Not forgetting, we also have Segun Sopitan in the studio with us. Yeah. Now, even the weather, even the earth celebrated today, because this morning when I stepped out, it was kind of hazy. Yeah. And while I was coming into the studio this night, the moon wasn't full, but it was red. Yes. So yeah, even the universe is celebrating the new year.
Symbolic.
I noticed that actually.
Oh, you did too.
Yeah.
See?
So it's a big one. Now, for those that, you know, might have had resolutions, those that keep, you know, that list, things I want to achieve, if you are not able to do it last year, don't be discouraged. It's a clean slate now. You can, you know, pick up, right? And then just keep moving.
All right, let's do one thing right here in the studio. Let's start with Mr. Segun Sopitan. Now, just one New Year resolution, just one. Just give us one New Year resolution.
Do you keep resolutions?
I don't do resolutions.
Okay, what do you hope to achieve this year?
One. Exactly.
Yeah.
Objectives.
So in terms of objectives and goals, you know, I've set some very, very high bars, mainly financial.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because, you know, I'm a financial consultant, you know, I'm out there, we've got projects that we're running, you know, so I've just set targets for what we need to achieve by the end of 2024 and, you know, hopeful regardless. And I think this is important for people to understand out there. You know, it's very tough. It's been a tough 2023. Regardless of all of the toughness, regardless of the inflation, you know, and all of that, you have to make up your mind what you want to do with your life for this new year and just go for it. And that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm just going after those goals.
All right, over to you, Dapo.
Over to me.
Yes.
So
one.
Okay, so the thing is, maybe we should take our guest on Zoom before we take mine, right? So let's go to Dr. Mohammed Goje. Any resolutions for the year?
Just one.
Yeah, my resolution for this year is to ensure that we give more life-saving support to our people and ensure that we maintain the peace that we're enjoying in 2023 through collaborative support to both the community, security, and the government.
That's very important.
Very, very important.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
That.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's listen to Bulama Abiso. Any resolutions for the year?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we are all on the same page with Doctor. We want to build the resilience of our youths and women actually to partake in their own economic activities in the state. And we are resolute, myself and over 200 organizations that I am leading in this.
All right. At this point, let's give you some live feed from across Nigeria, how people are welcoming the new year.
Well, this is also in Abuja.
Yes.
And our correspondent, Marvelous Obomanu, is on ground for this. They're still praying.
Honestly,
it seems like they've not done the countdown already.
You know, so I think for some religious organizations, as against the shouts and the celebration mood that people usually welcome the new year with, they actually pray, you know, into the new year. So it might be 15 minutes after, you know, 12, and then they start all these celebrations. So maybe they are still in that space. But you would also agree that Nigerians are very religious
people.
So they don't joke with moments like this because they feel it's pivotal. But these are live feeds from Abuja. That's the capital city of Nigeria right now.
Means to break out and to keep breaking out. No power will constrain you anymore. From today, receive the grace to break out. I say grace to break out. You will no longer be contained. You will no longer be limited. From today, begin to break out. Continue to break out. Begin to spring up. Continue to spring up. Begin to spread out. Continue to spread out. In the name of Jesus, begin to shoot off.
All right, so what you're still seeing on your screen is live feeds there from Abuja. That's Nigeria's capital there. How this particular very amazing individuals are welcoming the new year in prayers, right? We'll also be showing you live feeds from other parts of the country, in Lagos and also some parts in the east of the country. Now, you asked me my resolution for the year
that I hope to achieve.
I hope to achieve. So I would say this publicly. I think it's been a while, maybe 5 years or more since last I started, you know, writing resolutions. Maybe when I became an adult, I started paying bills. I stopped because when you set some of those targets, I know you'd be like, oh my God, reality sets in. But for me, I think the bottom line is just to get better, right? To get better and remain optimistic. I think that should be the foundation of everything. You know, it doesn't keep you discouraged. It just gives you the courage to keep moving on, right? So I think for me, that's just the resolution. So
right
you,
on,
Dashen.
All right, well, for me, I believe that I have so many silent prayers that even I don't know some of them.
Okay.
Yes, but, you know, I actually feel them, and God knows my heart. So all I want is for answers to those prayers this year. That's just it.
I think I'd also share part of Segun's own. More money.
And more money too. Yes, very important.
More money. Of course, still on your screen is live feeds there from Abuja, the capital city of Nigeria, where, of course, we know we can see people praying. We are taking you back to Lagos.
This is
that's the Greater Lagos concert where we did the countdown together with them. We have our correspondent there, Money, who, of course, took us through what happened earlier.
Yeah, we also saw the governor. Yeah, he gave his charge, and you know, he was basically just, you know, advising the residents in Lagos State and, you know, giving them hope for the forthcoming year, saying that things will get better. And, you know, I think there was something I picked out about businesses, you know, improving and all that, because there have actually been so many concerns about the number of taxes that people actually have to pay in Lagos State. So I think that should be looked into as well.
Absolutely, absolutely true. And just also to mention that in terms of what we should look out for this year across Africa, we know that countries like South Africa, Ghana, it's an election year for them. So I'm sure very soon they will enter that election season, and you can be rest assured that News Central will keep you abreast as it happens live. South Africa was one of the very first countries to hit the new year. We had our correspondent there, Bugani, who kept us up to speed. It was Kenya, right? And then, of course, we had South Africa. And our correspondent there,
Bugani. You're talking about, you know, the African continent.
The African continent.
All over the world. I think Kiribati was the first.
Was the first.
Yes. And then we also have China, we have Sudan, Eritrea, South Sudan. We have, that's in Africa we're talking about.
Yes.
We have Somalia, Madagascar.
With the same time zone.
Yes.
Somalia, Madagascar, and of course we have that of South Africa, in the category with Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Zambia, Lesotho,
Swaziland, Republic of Congo, Libya, and Egypt. We also have West Africa, Nigeria. Hello, Nigeria. Benin Republic, Niger, Cameroon, Chad, Central Africa, yeah?
Yes.
Angola, Namibia, Algeria, Tunisia.
I mean, interesting times, you'd say,
very
in
interesting.
Africa. Well, let's still show you live feeds from across Nigeria. Well, as we get them, of course,
we also have some
you know.
countries that are yet to, count down to 2024.
So we're counting down to countries like Mauritius and Seychelles.
So if we're traveled for a vacation in one of these countries now, we'll still be behind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's go back to Segun. Now, looking at, I mean, since of course, you said your projections are financial, looking at the financial projections for 2024, particularly at the micro level, what with all of the policies in Nigeria that the current administration, said they've put in place, and hopefully we'll start seeing results, from this year. What are your projections?
Well, hopefully we'll get to see the government deal with the foreign exchange situation, because that is key to everything else. Because we're such an import-dependent country and economy, you can't afford to have your whether parallel market rates or official rates trending at above 1,000 naira. The official rate is about 850, parallel market 1,200. We can't afford that. It's going to drive prices across board up further. So the hope will be that the government will grapple with this problem and deal with it in the first quarter. The solutions are there. It's just a few policy tweaks, and we should see a recovery in that regard. So if that happens, then everything else, can then fall into place. We have inflation can be curtailed, and so on and so forth. For the average man on the street, these are the key things. Inflation, exchange rate that drives inflation, and the other things that drive inflation. So.
All right. Well, let's reconnect with our correspondent here in Lagos in the church, talking about Bettina Nweli. Bettina, hi, welcome back. So what was the countdown like where you are? Hello, Bettina, can you hear me? All right, so while we try to reconnect with her, I actually really need to ask, this. You talked about inflation earlier, and now you're talking about, the financial sector in Nigeria. Now, I seem to remember in 2023, so many international organizations, companies, and, even those who wanted to invest in Nigeria actually left Nigeria because the country wasn't friendly for them to do business in. Case in point, GlaxoSmithKline, and after they left, some of these drugs that a lot of Nigerians actually depended on, increased like 1,000%, 1,000%.
I mean, the most basic is the inhaler.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, I would like for you to tell us, the impact that, these companies leaving Nigeria had on Nigeria in 2023, and what can be done to bring in more investment to Nigeria. I mean, I actually saw a video today, a very damning video of, how some investors were coming into Nigeria to invest with dollars, and some of our leaders were asking for bribe before coming in with their investment, and they had to, leave Nigeria and move to other countries. What impact does, companies let's just say, what impact do these things I've actually talked about right now, what impact do they have on our country, or will they have in 2024?
That last bit that you mentioned is the story of our lives as a country. The corruption that then prevents basic stuff that should happen regularly from happening. These companies that have left, one of the biggest impacts, we haven't felt it yet. We're going to feel it in 2022 because of the lagging effect. One of the things that will happen is because the production, it's all about local production of these things in Nigeria. These companies are not leaving Nigeria in totality. They're stopping their local productive activities in Nigeria. So what that means is that They will leave a shell of their operations to run imports. So they'll bring manufactured goods from neighboring countries and from their home countries. So what that automatically means is that those items become subject to the vagaries of the exchange rate, and prices will just explode. And that's what happened with the inhaler. So a product that you were buying at 4,000, 5,000 before became 45,000, 60,000. How can a guy that was still struggling to buy inhalers at 4,000 afford 45,000 inhalers? So because the inhaler is now imported, so it's subject to exchange rate, it's subject to custom duties, and all of that, things that were not happening before, So, and then of course you have to look at the job losses that also implies. You have to look at the fact that all of a sudden you have more pressure on demand on foreign exchange rates, which will further worsen the exchange rate situation. So this company's leaving is very, very bad news, and the government really needs to react very quickly. Now, what can they do? Policies. It's basically all about the policy framework. The reason these companies are leaving is primarily because of the exchange rate. It's the fact that if you combine about 10 of these multinational organizations, we're talking of, I think the figure is around $700 million in exchange losses, in 1 year.
All right. Segun, we'll pick up from there, but we understand that Bettina is back online. Bettina, if you can hear me, glad to connect with you again.
All right, well, we're trying to reconnect to Bettina. I don't know if we still have our Zoom guests online.
Online, yes. Of course, talking about Dr. Goje, who, of course, joined us on Zoom, or is joining us via Zoom. Dr. Goje, if you can hear me, let's move to you in terms of what we should look out for, in the year. Now, we know that Nigeria in 2023 had quite a number of, well, I call it catastrophic events. But, okay, before we get to, of course, Dr. Goje, I understand we have Bettina right now. Bettina, great to connect with you.
Hi, can you hear me? Good
Okay,
evening.
We can hear you now. Yes, good morning.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
I wish you the same, Dapo and Dashen.
Happy New Year to you, Bettina.
Happy 2024.
Yeah. So, what was the celebration like? We really wanted to catch up with you.
Oh yes, it was a crowded place. The church was filled to the brim, and then there was an overflow area which was equally filled to the brim. And I don't know if you can still see a few people outside. Even the entrance of the church was filled with people, mostly youths, to my surprise, because we know our Nigerian youths like to have fun. But coming to church, crossing over into the new year, it was a really, really new experience for me. I wish I could come back another Sunday to see if the crowd that I saw today is the normal crowd that the church has. But all in all, it was a beautiful service. The fireworks have gone down now, unfortunately. But the message from the pastor was really about hope. Now, 2023 was a tough year for many Nigerians, both the rich and the not so rich. And the pastor's encouragement was that 2024 will be better as long as our leaders will do what is right and put the citizens first, as they should do.
Also, if the citizens do what is right as well. But Bettina, we really wish we really wish you could speak to any of the church members, maybe one or two, so we get to find out, what their hopes and aspirations are for 2024, if that's possible.
Oh yes, that should be possible if you just give me a few minutes, Dasha.
That's fantastic. So, but before you move on to, those people, tell us about yours. What are you expecting for 2024?
Well, for 2024, I would like to see that most of the work I put in 2023 will begin to manifest this year. And I'm hopeful that we're able to do more in the broadcast industry. I am hoping and I am positive that News Central is going to break the limits this year. Other TV stations need to watch out. We are coming out with something different, something new, something fresh, something that has never been seen before on screen.
Amen to that. Amen to that, Bettina.
Bettina, you didn't add money into that. You want, what's the word, more money this year?
Dapo, when I said things that have been manifested in 23 should begin to manifest.
You need to be
in 24.
specific.
You should know that it is financially inclined.
Anyway, Betty, that was just a joke. But of course, we will connect with you. Hopefully, you would have someone to also speak with us by then.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let's go to Dr. Goje. In terms of your expectations when it comes to handling, very unfortunate events, what do you think the government can do better to ensure that some of the unfortunate events we saw in 2023, doesn't repeat itself? Or should those events happen, God forbid, they are better managed and handled?
Hello, Dr. Goje, are
Dr.
you there?
Goje, can you hear me? Okay,
can you unmute your mic?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
yes,
I can hear you.
Please.
Yeah, we hope the leadership agenda of Excellency President Mohammed will be felt across board, and the economy will improve. And in terms of security and of lives and properties, we hope that there will be more vigilance from the community, and there will be more cooperation between the community and government, so that more lives will be safe. And government at all levels, not only the federal government, from the local government, states, and across all communities, livelihood of people, economy, security will prioritize. And this will, in a long way, translate to our economy, both within and outside Nigeria. And we have seen a lot of improvement in terms of foreign relationship, in terms of access to a visa, passport. A lot of improvement have met, and I hope this will translate across all sectors.
All right. First of all, I actually love your background. We can see ourselves. We can see you as well. But then moving on, my co-anchor did ask about some of the unfortunate events that actually happened. And from what I gather, you are actually the Executive Secretary to the State Emergency Management in Yobe State. Now, a lot of unfortunate events that happened, I can only remember a few, not just in Yobe State, but in Nigeria. I would actually want you to tell us what plans, that SEMA and NEMA as well are actually making to protect Nigerians from experiencing some of these disasters that actually happened in 2023, moving into 2024. I remember a flooding that displaced a lot of people, due to heavy rainfalls. I also remember a boat that capsized with 100 wedding guests. Yes, they were going from Niger to Kwara State. And also, heavy rain that actually caused landslides in Benue State. So, some of these are actually examples of some of the unfortunate events that happened in 2023. How do we avert this and protect the lives and property of citizens come 2024?
As emergency managers, I think the first approach is early warning signs and early communication. And these are some of the approaches at both state and federal level that has been instituted through both NEMA and NIMET. And apart from that, also preparation in case of emergency, early evacuation, training of local divers, and also ensuring that there are places that you can evacuate people for safe zone, and collaboration with relevant institutions on ground, Ministry of Education, which have facilities across everywhere, and also ensuring that communication in terms of early warning should be down to the grassroots level, using local languages, the community stakeholders, religious leaders, traditional rulers. This will save a lot of lives. But most importantly is also going back to the drawing board and ensuring that all our waterways that have been earlier blocked are cleared, drainages that need expansion are expanded, and also there are large saving equipment on ground in the case of emergency.
Okay, now let's move to our next guest, talking about Mr. Bulama Abiso. Thank you so much for for staying with us, by the way. So, talking about some of the events that shaped 2023. Now, I remember that a few acts were passed into law, and I remember the Electricity Act being passed into law, and also the Student Loan Scheme being passed into law. Do you think these, acts would actually affect Nigerians positively come 2024?
Thank you very much. To start with the student loan board, I think these are very positive development, but it will not going to be as quickly as we expect, because people actually need to get all the requirements that were put in place before accessing that. And also in some of the places that we want these things to go into, if measures are not taken, it will not going to reach them, because many of these students that we are trying to reach out, if we are talking about the public schools, are the students that are having their parents. Some of them are farmers. Some of them doesn't know anything about even coming to schools and what have you. It is the students that are actually driving the actually way for them to see that they have gone into that. So a lot of sensitization and a lot of actually issues should be put in place for them to realize that. But if actually the government should liaise with many institutions in the country, including the civil society organization, to sensitize the parents, the students themselves, and make the thing very easy for the student to access, I believe it is another angle that we're going to actually see that we are through in that regard. But however, I want to actually emphasize that public education actually is the key for our development in this country. No matter what we do, no matter how beautiful the private schools and whatever you are, if our attention are not fully on the public schools, we are missing the trend. So I hope government should show concern to the public schools, beginning from the kindergarten up to the university level.
All right.
Said that, and the issue of the power is another angle that actually needs to be looked into. And also, the government should pay attention to renewable energies in the country. Issues in the whole of the north, I believe, if the renewable energy should be put in place, I think the governments in all of the northeast or in the whole of the north can be able to actually come and then do something about the power in their localities. And power is one of the driving forces in our economy, whether it is micro or macroeconomic in the country. So I want to call on all these laws that were passed, let them pay attention to the renewable energy, particularly the solar energy. Is a very, very key in our development, as well as in reaching the potentials of our people in our own locality.
All right, I would, of course, I'll come back to you, Mr. Bulama, but let's go to Segun right now. Now, Segun, talking about the student loan, I know that aside the initiative itself, the price or the fees, school fees, particularly even in public institutions, have gone up. Quite a number of students have dropped out because they are unable to keep up, which is pretty worrisome. We know what the statistics is saying when it comes to out-of-school children. For those ones dropping out right now, that's an addition, right? And then the question, there are a lot of concerns concerning this particular initiative. Are there jobs to ensure that people get after school to pay back those loans? What's the duration? What happens when a student defaults and is unable to pay that loan? Then let's now talk about the accessibility to these particular loans and the percentage and all of that. I want to know your take, particularly from the financial perspective, the implication of this policy, because it's like my future as a student, right now I'm already like in debt. You know, I've not even started working, but ahead, you know, a debt is waiting for me to pay up. So I want to know your take on this initiative, particularly from a financial angle.
You know, the idea behind it is a good idea. Generally, just looking at it from a broad perspective, we're trying to copy what developed economies are doing in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and other places like that. However, the problem is that we do not have the economic base to support a program like this. Poverty, the poverty prevalence in Nigeria is simply too high to allow an idea like this to work. Like you've said, so if you look, what's happened now is that the schools have already started hiking their fees, supposedly in anticipation of the capacity of students to be able to pay these fees because of the student loans. Meanwhile, the student loans have not been operationalized yet. There's so many questions. Where will the funding for the student loans come from? In a manner of speaking, the student loans is a subsidy, in a manner of speaking, because the loans are supposed to be developmental, the rates are supposed to be low, the tenors are supposed to be long enough to allow the student to work for enough years to pay back. We do not have the capacity to support this as a country. I would have thought that so what we're trying to do is to shift the nature of the subsidy from a direct subsidy to the universities via funding and subventions from the federal government to taking the subsidies to the consumers of the services of the universities by giving them loans. Unfortunately, that is not materializing yet, and it's not likely to materialize anytime soon. So I would have thought that we should have left the way things are running currently with regards to the universities, fund them, give them subventions, then provide a pathway, maybe a 2-year pathway, to allow them become self-funding through collaborations with the private sector, research grants, collaborations with international funding agencies, and all of that. There's no shortcut to these things that we're trying to do. And what I see the government trying to do is to take a shortcut, just a copy and paste approach from what is happening abroad and trying to do it here. It's not going to work. In fact, in the United States, the American government is actually realizing that the student loan is a problem. Students are unable to pay back. 20 years after leaving school, they can't pay back, and they're finding ways to write those loans off. It's the same thing in the United Kingdom. I was listening to a conversation from a returnee recently who was saying she deliberately opted out of student loans. She was able to find a way not to go to universities because of the fear of the student loans, and that was what gave her the flexibility to up and leave the UK and say she's coming back to Nigeria because she didn't have student loans to pay back. So the student loan is not a magic bullet that will solve the funding of education in Nigeria. And I think that a lot more thinking needs to go into this before we venture down that road. We haven't thought it through enough at all.
But how stable is the education sector? Because we've actually seen so many strikes, over the years.
Exactly.
But it's a good thing that the lecturers have actually been removed from the IPPIS, which is, what they have been complaining about, that they've not received their salaries and all that. And then going to the north, talking about the insecurity, a lot of these universities, these schools have been affected by insecurity. So who's to say that, even if the student loans come to play, that these students will have the opportunity to go back to school?
I mean, look, if you give a student a loan and is supposed to finish the program in a 4-year period, and then is expected to start paying back maybe 2 years after it's finished, that's 6 years. In those 6 years, so you talk about IPSIS and the fact that the universities have been able to extricate themselves from that. But that is not the crux of the industrial disputes that recur between the universities, lecturers, and government. It's actually all about funding of the universities. So that problem has not been taken care of. So the strikes are still going to happen. So if you will see, we'll still have a strike this year. So if you have striking universities and they strike for 9 months, maybe 4 or 5 months every year for a 3-year period, the students will not be able to graduate on time, to start working, to then be able to pay the loans. So there's still so many structural and foundational problems that we need to deal with before we can put a student loan idea on top of the structures.
All right, at this point, of course, we will be going on a quick break. When we come back, we'll keep you up to speed as regards how celebrations are going across Africa into the new year. Stay with us.